A story begins with Suki is a student who lives in a forgotten village when suddenly a tall, mysterious, famous idol arrives there after getting into trouble in the city. A boy named Lin with a bad boy aura who sits next to Suki. And when they look at each other, it feels like two thunderbolts crashing together. But the boy does not know Suki's secret because she has a little pig as a pet that suddenly jumps out of her backpack and starts running while the girl chases after it. The pig runs away in terror and Suki finally catches it, but the teacher explodes in anger and punishes her. And things get worse, because back at home, she suddenly hears someone showering who is not part of her family. She discovers the boy completely naked, and when he looks at her, she feels as if he is reading her soul, which shocks her so much that she drops a brick on her own foot. And in the middle of the pain, he comes out of the shower while she asks what he is doing in her house. Then her uncle informs her that the boy will be living with her temporarily, which she immediately refuses. So the boy says he will pay them a large amount of money, which is good for their financial problems. But there is only one room in the house, so one of them has to go to the basement. And since he pays the rent, he wins the argument. And when she is about to leave, he points at her bra, making her embarrassed as she takes it off. After that, she discovers that Lin is one of the protagonists of the most famous drama right now, and that he also promotes Chinese drinks on advertising posters. She had no idea Lin was so famous and agrees with him to keep it a secret to avoid strange rumors. However, the village chief announces that Lin is a real celebrity and a star. So when they arrive at school, she finds girls screaming around him and kissing him, and she is the only girl not hypnotized by him and even mocks him in public. So Lin publicly announces that he is living at Suki's house, which causes suspicions that they are actually dating. And Lin also explains that anyone who wants to date him should contact Suki because she is his secretary. Suki says it is a lie, but nobody believes her. So full of revenge, she summons her childhood friends called the Sweet Death Squad, explains that Lin is their target, and wearing battle clothes they meet him, she pretends to be strong and tells him to laugh now because soon he will not even be able to cry. But when she tries to push him, a pin hidden in her uniform makes her hand bleed. The enemy was prepared, and when she lunges at him again, the teacher appears and punishes her for bad behavior, forcing her to apologize to the boy who constantly makes her angry. And since Lin is a celebrity, he does not want to work. So Suki angrily tells him that if he works, she will give him the house Wi-Fi, and the boy who cannot stand being without internet ends up working in the fields under the blazing sun. The farm women cheer happily seeing a famous man working, and he realizes that doing good deeds feels good for the soul. Then he reveals the real reason he came to the countryside, saying that months ago he attended a meeting with a famous director together with a friend, hoping to star in a drama. But the director turned out to be a pervert who forced the girl to drink until she got drunk. And when she was at her worst, he touched her legs and harassed her non-stop. And because of this injustice, Lin confronted everyone, threw champagne at them, and punched the perverted director. And as a result, his manager terminated his contract and kicked him out of the entertainment company. Now Lin's goal is to recover his reputation, while at the same time slowly falling in love with this proud girl who has an honest heart. She sleeps with him, and the boy reveals that she clung to him all night as if she loved him, making her so embarrassed that she headbutts him and runs out of the room with butterflies in her stomach. And with this love begins the hardest mission of their lives, living together without killing each other. Because when she goes into the bathroom, he is inside and she screams so loudly that the neighbors hear it and think they are doing it every day. Then the protagonist's father calls the house, and she takes control of the call to report that the boy has done nothing but cause trouble in the village and keeps charming all the girls. So the father gives her permission to punish him however she wants. And she makes him work in a food shop where as he works, the sweat makes his skin shine and her legs drive him more and more crazy, which surprises him because it is the first time a woman has trapped his soul like this and left him unable to breathe. Then he remembers he has to collect money for food from the villagers using the account notebook, and they face 3 farmers looking for a fight. She has no weapon while they have hoes and shovels, so they are at a disadvantage. And when they leave, Lin, fed up, decides to hide the notebook near a stream to annoy her. But the prank goes wrong because the notebook accidentally gets wet and ruins all the pages to the point that nothing could be read. She exploded with fury because this notebook was a gift from her beloved grandmother before she died, and it also contained records of a $3,000 $1,000 collection that was now lost beyond repair. The girl insults him and hits him with blows that stab straight into his heart. And as she leaves, she unknowingly drops a small note with a list of things she wanted to buy so that Lin could be more comfortable in the apartment, which makes him feel even more guilty. And when he talks to his friends, he learns that Suki's grandmother passed away 6 years ago, which was a heavy blow because they were kindred souls. Then her uncle quickly fell into debt and she had to work non-stop and generate income to help at home. Filled with regret, he promises to return the money he caused her to lose. Money she planned to use to leave the village and gain real chances in life. She thanks him with loving glances because money is important, of course. But love is even more important since it is the engine of our existence. Love is a feeling Lin has never truly experienced before. And with her close by, he is starting to feel strange heartbeats in his chest. Later, he explains that while staying there, he has been unable to compose music because he lacks inspiration. And she replies that he should look at nature to find it, yet instead he looks at her eyes, her lips, and the way she is, searching for the best love song among her kisses. But just when his love is at its strongest, Kochu arrives to annoy him. Kochu is a handsome idol, the star of the drama of the moment and a friend of Lin. The girls go crazy over him and the jealous man enters the sea when suddenly a jellyfish stings his leg. The pain keeps getting worse, and the only solution they find is urine since it works as a disinfectant against jellyfish. So Suki stands between the boys and starts peeing into a bucket while everyone looks away. Then she disinfects the wound, and now he feels closer to her than ever. What a disturbing fact. Then, on a night filled with fireworks where love floats through the air, he approaches her, staring into the deepest part of her being, seeing her bones, her veins, her blood, now connected by a greater power that also runs through his spirit. The next day, Lin goes viral because of a recording of him cutting oysters, which draws attention from the city and people quickly discover his whereabouts. The news causes an uproar because while some fans eagerly demand his return, others criticize him cruelly. And rumors even start spreading that he went to the village because he has a secret girlfriend there. This awakens Suki's jealousy, and she asks her friends for help to find out if he really has a secret girl. They follow him everywhere, even when he is in the bathroom watching whether he talks to someone. And in a moment of anger, he tells them he likes blonde girls, which she takes very badly, saying, "If you don't love me with my hair color, then it isn't true love." And he replies that hair does not matter to him at all. What matters is having a sincere heart, a cheerful personality, and a lively soul that motivates him to do things together. And since Suki has all those qualities, she starts wondering if he is actually talking about her. And in the middle of all this, his manager contacts the boy again. And because of the viral video, his manager suggests that he return to the city to resume his career in the entertainment world. And this news makes him happy, but also uncomfortable because his feelings for the girl have bloomed like a garden. And following the advice of his heart, he decides to stay a few more days in the village, wanting to drink in the shine directly from the girl's eyes. And on top of that, he earns money by selling a song he composed thinking of her. Then, with an open heart, he proposes taking Suki to the city so she can buy a used car for her uncle. But she rejects the offer, saying her leg hurts, which surprises Lin. So he goes to his friends to understand this better, and they reveal that the city is a curse for Suki because every time she goes to the city, someone important in her family dies. First, it was her parents, and then her poor grandmother. So she believes that if she goes again, her uncle will die, and Lin's soul sinks into hell with an eternal pain. Yet Lin puts a blindfold on her, closes the car curtains, and takes her to the city anyway. And when she realizes it, she starts screaming in terror. But the boy ignores it, and she steps out of the car wearing the blindfold and takes a look at the city, which brings her nightmares that choke her soul, and she collapses to the ground. Then she clings to Lin's legs, terrified that he will die, and he explains that for now everything is fine and decides to step back, leaving her on her own in this uncertain world. And the girl agrees to walk around the city on the condition that she keeps the blindfold on her eyes at all times. So he takes advantage of her being blind and plays a prank on her without her knowing, putting her on a ride that goes 3,000 per hour. She cannot get off, and when it ends, she throws up all the food in her stomach while cursing Lin, who is actually doing this to help her. They argue, and he tells her she must face her fears, or she will spend her whole life locked away without knowing the beautiful world around her. And hearing these words, Suki feels feels hurt and walks away, remembering her grandmother's terrible accident. Then the blindfold is removed and she panics. But Lin arrives in time to protect her, wraps her in his arms, and apologizes for hurting her. She cannot stop crying, and he gently wipes her tears and puts headphones on her with sounds of floating watermelon in the village where she was born and raised. And this action, along with others from the past, tightens the connection between their souls so deeply that just by looking at him, she imagines an entire life with him. Later, with their friends, one of them says that in the old mansion at the edge of the village, there is a wishing room protected by a bad-tempered ghost woman. And anyone who approaches the mansion always comes out with poop in their pants, and she says she wants to go to ask for a wish that is tattooed on her soul, that Lin confess the feelings of his heart. So that same night, they go to explore the haunted mansion. And when they hear a mysterious voice, they run hand in hand to an old warehouse where the fire of their lips burns like the hottest volcano. Suddenly, they find the legendary wishing room, and one by one, they make wishes for wealth, success, and more material things. And now it is Suki's turn, and she asks for something different. She wants to find true love, and when Lin hears these words, he feels happy. And in fact, a voice suddenly says that her wish will come true, though they do not know if it was a joke or a spirit. After that, the friends go to sleep together, uneasy with doubts about their future. And seeing them, the uncle talks with them and reminds them that having doubts is normal, and encourages them to follow their dreams above all else. So Lin, missing making music and being an idol, going to stadiums and concerts, tells his manager that he is ready to return to the industry. And this news makes Suki sad because it means he will leave the village, and therefore her life, her worst nightmare, becomes reality. And sincerely she tells him, "I need a couple more days with you to reveal a secret of my heart." So Lin stays and spends quality time with Suki. His friends notice he is more nervous than usual and sense that he is in love with her. And they tell him his problem is that he is too passive with girls and insist, "You need to be clearer with your feelings, because if not, the girl you love will never know how you feel." What great advice. And suddenly, Suki stands in front of him, and together with a heart, she shouts to Lin that she likes him in such a genuine and passionate way that it pierces his heart like an arrow, and he can no longer endure the pain of this love. So right there in front of everyone, he confesses that he feels something for her too, a love that burns fast like fire and scorches their souls every second they are not kissing. However, when she browses the internet, she finds a secret Facebook account of Lin where she discovers two recent posts against her. One a meme mocking her, and another a somewhat cruel criticism about her lack of interest in studies. She explodes with anger and tells him, "I may not be as smart as you, but I don't mock others. My heart is transparent like crystal, and I would never think that way about you." And Lin now feels vulnerable because his identity was discovered, while she, like a snoop, spends the whole day checking all his Facebook posts. Yet she accidentally likes one of them, one of the worst mistakes you can make on the internet. Oh my god, she is dying of embarrassment. And Lin, knowing this, instead of pressuring her, becomes even sweeter to her. And then the protagonists discover that there is an arsonist loose in the village who has promised to burn down a family's house. The police investigate who the arsonist might be, and they, on their own, even though it is very dangerous, also look for this guy who hides in dark alleys. She hears a noise outside the shop. Scared, she goes out and comes face to face with the arsonist throwing alcohol and trying to set the shop on fire. And she fights him with all her strength to stop him. The criminal wins the first fight and threatens to kill Suki when Lin arrives like a superhero and fights the evil criminal, pins him to the ground, and makes it clear that no one dares insult his beloved. Then, after the police handle it and take the man to jail, she remains sad because there is only one day left before Lin leaves the village. So secretly messaging each other, they decide to go on one last date. She looks like she stepped out of a perfume commercial, more beautiful than the moon, and Lin is completely shocked by the aura she has when she moves, when she walks, and simply when she is near him. As they walk the village paths and everything feels beautiful, suddenly, Pam finds out that the protagonist's father has already bought a plane ticket back to the city. She argues with him because her biggest dream is for him to stay with her and have children, and the protagonist replies that he made a promise to return, and they end up fighting as tradition dictates. But that same day, life hits them even harder because the elderly woman Lu, the most beloved woman in the village, is hospitalized after a heart attack. attack and later dies without the doctor being able to do anything. And this event makes the villagers realize how fleeting life is, and they begin to confess their feelings. The school teacher takes his girlfriend to the wishing room and without hesitation proposes to her. Another friend confesses his love to the girl, and the only ones left are our protagonists, so proud that they say nothing, and he receives a call from the son of Mrs. Liu, who asks him to come by his house. And there, he finds a letter from the grandmother asking him to go to the wishing room. And when he goes, he is surprised to find his beloved there, hypnotized as she stares at the wall. And together, they read the last wish written by Mrs. Liu, asking them to stop fighting all the time and always, always stay united because time does not forgive. And when you find a true connection in this world, you must water it like a golden flower because it is the most valuable treasure that exists. And with this blow to the heart, they make peace and promise to never separate again. A month later in the village, the teacher marries his sweetheart and everything seems happy for the protagonists, when suddenly Lin's father appears in front of them with the intention of taking him to the city so he can study and also return to his acting career. The boy refuses to obey his orders, and they have a huge argument in which the father insults his son for believing he is wasting his life. Then Suki switches into defense mode and stands in front of the father, making things clear, saying that not everything in life is success, that his son is talented, handsome, a good person, and above all, his passion is music and not acting. She says that his music is making waves on the internet, but what Suki wants to express most is that friendship and love are the most important things in the world, because how many successful and millionaire people are unhappy because they have no one around who truly loves them and speaks honestly to them when they need it. And the father, knowing how hard the entertainment industry is, cannot hide the truth and accepts that his son stays in the village to find his true happiness. After that, Lin pretends he is going to the city, and Suki breaks down crying uncontrollably. But suddenly, the boy appears saying it was a joke, though in reality it was part of a trick to see how much she loved him. Then Suki finishes her exams with good grades, and it is time to take the step to university. Surprise! The university is in the city, making her dreams of staying impossible. She is determined to go to uni, even though the city scares her. And Lin supports her decision to study what makes her happy. So to avoid separating, they agree to rent a house together in the city and live their love together. Then Lin is the first to leave, and they prepare a beautiful surprise for him on his last day where all his friends attend except Suki. And he wonders why she is not there, because she cannot bear the idea of separating from him, because she loves looking into his beautiful eyes in the morning and hearing his voice that enters her soul and comforts her when she is furious. Then the boy puts an earphone on her and makes her listen to a recording from their childhood where she was confessing her love to him. And indeed, they have known each other since childhood before he became famous. She did not remember. And now she realizes that their love was destined long ago, and sincerely he promises to share every step of his path with her. Then she takes out a jar full of fireflies that light up the night sky, creating a romantic atmosphere. And they hold hands, making a pact of eternal union. The next morning, the whole village gathers to say goodbye to the boy, encouraging him to always strive and above all to wait for Suki, who cannot hold back her tears because her love is flying away without knowing if she will see him again. Months later, she graduates, and this should be a moment of happiness. But Suki is still sad, not only because Lin left, but also because he does not reply to her messages, and she begins to think that he is cheating on her or that he no longer likes her. In the middle of this stress, she celebrates her 18th birthday and tries her first beer, gets drunk, and they decide to climb the school wall, running through the yard and writing their dreams for the future on the blackboard. Suki was calm when she saw fireflies in the air that strangely led her to a classroom decorated with banners from her village, and there is Lin with a cake singing happy birthday while she cannot stop crying. And with this surprise, he reminds her that he promised to be there on her most important days. She thanks him, but also scolds him for not writing to her for so many months. And he explains that his father only gave him freedom if he focused on his studies without talking to anyone from the village. And in the middle of the argument, their faces are just millimeters apart. Their skins melt under the heat of their gazes, and he finally touches her lips and kisses her with passion, beginning their new life of happiness. Because true love is a connection that goes beyond the physical, beyond words, beyond the ordinary. It is something spiritual. It is a melody that was always in your heart, and now you hear clearly. And with that, our series comes comes to the end. If you enjoy this drama and want more like this, so don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel now.